Hi, how are you? I'm Sleepy Shroomy. I'll be narrating through 4 RPG horror stories. I'll have all 4 linked in the comments, and I'll be giving my own commentary throughout it. Please enjoy. This first story is titled Not That Bad. I was today years old when I found out people are using generative AI when playing P by P. Like, why? Anyway, I confronted my players about this. One said they use AI more than they should. The other used AI for grammar. I had previously said I don't want AI at all in my games for text. Using it for images is okay. Anyway, one of them went on to say that people who don't want AI in their games are like Old Man Jenkins, who sit on his porch and yells about the telemajiggers and the internet. Anyway, I know a lot of people use AI for various reasons, and that's fine for them. I have ethical oppositions to AI. For many reasons, it was insulting to be lied to and then called old fashioned for wanting people to use their own words and ideas. A frustrated DM. Personally, I don't believe any AI should be used for D&D or any kind of tabletop role playing game. Maybe for grammar. That is like you know, grammar checks are fine, it's not too different if you use Grammarly or something. But definitely not for image generation. As somebody who plays a lot of D&D, I have my own characters and I usually make them in Hero Forge if I want them, and if I do want art of them, I will go and commission somebody. In the comments, somebody had commented, you have an ethical opposition using AI for text but not for graphics. And the OP had commented, to be honest, I have an ethical opposition to pretty much all AI, but I wanted to get my game going, and they wanted to make their character portraits with AI. Our next story is titled, Why Is It So Hard to Find Normal People to Play With? I know normal has become a bad word, and I don't mean it in that way. I don't want you to use the table for your own therapy. I want to have goofy adventures and enjoy my time at the table. I've tried to recruit friends and hosted multiple demo games that almost had a group together. One fell apart because an artist got into a shouting match with another player because they used AI to make their character profile photo. No one wanted to come back except the artist, who I promptly asked to fuck off. There was no reason to react that way in a social setting. I'm so tired of looking. I've had a handful of amazing groups over the years, and it stings to not be able to find another one. Maybe it's time to take up a solo hobby. I hear Legos are still fun. I had to get in. I had to get it out. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I find it hard to agree with OP here. I understand wanting to have a silly game about the adventure, but some people really do need this time in D&D to vent and stuff. Personally, me and some of my friends do. None of us have a problem with it, but if you do, I'd recommend talking to your DM or your players about it. It's okay to have opinions like that, and it's not wrong for it, but maybe finding a better group for you is what you need to do. With the group OP was talking about in the shouting match, I kind of think OP is stupid on this. Uh, OP said the only player to come back was the artist who got in a fight with the other art for the other person who wanted to use AI. And we talked about this in the last story. AI is bad. I don't want people using AI for their portraits and telling the only person to come back, the person who is really in the right, to fuck off. That is messed up. Maybe you should do something solo, because I'll be honest, OP does not sound like the most pleasant person to be around, but that's just my opinion. This next story is titled, Player Started Crying and Refused to Play It Because She Got Knocked Out. I used to only play with a group of 4 friends, but we haven't played in 2 months now because of other priorities. One of my friends invited me to another game, which he wanted to start with his girlfriend and her friend group. In the game, one of the players, June, kept taunting a guard. We ended up paddling a group of guards, and the guards had been mocking earlier kept targeting her and ended up knocking her out. She got really upset out of character and refused to play any longer. We had healed her character, but she folded her arms and refused to speak, saying the DM had been unfair, the game had to end, because she left in tears. I do feel bad for her, but it must be awkward. But I miss playing with my old group. Before I get into my thoughts, somebody in the comments had asked, "How old were all of you, especially her, all in early 20s?" Which is kind of a sad display, honestly. If you are having a fit in your 20s about a tabletop game, that is just a bad sign. I have been in games before where somebody has been targeted because the DM didn't like the person, but could not kick him out because the rest of the group liked the person, and we all kind of just muscled through it, I guess. But some people just can't handle Dungeons and Dragons, not because the game is hard, but because they're just too not built for it. If you are gonna cry because your fictional character got killed or even knocked out, you should be doing something else because that really brings it down for the other people. And you are not the main character. You have to think about everybody else at the table because we all want to have a fun time. This last story is titled I Was That Guy. This happened way back in 2018 when I first moved to California and had no one to play with. I showed up to a game store and joined a lovely group of furries Curse of Strahd campaign and immediately became a problem. Desperate for approval, I interrupted the DM throughout the session with inane comments on something funny my character was doing. Near the end, I, fueled on fresh religious trauma, argued that another player who was practically a god was not a god. This resulted in his character snapping his fingers and wiping out everybody there. It was fine because the campaign was over and provided a segue into the next one. After the session, I accidentally misgendered a player. Bafflingly, I was invited back next week. However, upon reflecting on my actions that night, I decided it would be best to never subject the nice furries to my presence again. This story is nice and refreshing, honestly. I understand the OP was just in the wrong the whole time, pretty much, but it is D&D, it is just a game. The game was over when that flip out happened. It was not right, but hey, they didn't seem to mind too much if the OP was invited back. And if it was an accident when misgendering a player, if you were just joining and then you didn't know them, that is not fine, but I'm sure nobody was mad. Obviously, they weren't mad because they invited you back. But it is nice having a player who is self aware that when they're doing something wrong, they did it wrong. Honestly, this is actually a nice story. The OP here is self aware of what they did, and I like to hope they apologized after. Um, it doesn't say they did, but no, no, no. Thank you for watching my first YouTube video on like Reddit stories. I hopefully I'm gonna do more of these, and I hope you come back. Please subscribe if you liked it, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.